Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Outgrow's Marketer of the Month. I'm your host, Dr. Saksham Sharda. I'm the creative director at Outgrow.co. And for this month, we're going to interview Alex Mackrill, who is the Chief Marketing Officer at Hype and Dexter. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Hi, Saksham. Great to be here. Thank you.
So, Alex, we're going to start with a rapid fire round just to break the ice. You get 2 passes. In case you don't want to answer the question, you can just say pass. But try to keep your answers to one word or one sentence only, okay?
Got it.
All right, so the first one is, at what age do you want to retire?
55.
How long does it take you to get ready in the mornings?
40 minutes.
Most embarrassing moment of your life?
I once tried to vault a bar outside a nightclub, and there was a queue of people watching me as I cracked my nuts on the bar.
Wow. Favorite color?
Blue.
What time of day are you most inspired?
Nighttime.
How many hours of sleep can you survive on?
7.
Fill in the blank. An upcoming marketing trend is blank.
AI.
The city in which the best kiss of your life happened.
Blackpool.
Pick one, Mark Zuckerberg or Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey.
The biggest mistake of your career.
Pass.
How do you relax?
Music.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
Never more than 3.
A habit of yours that you hate.
Pass.
The most valuable skill you've learned in life.
To value and elevate those around you.
And the last one is your favorite Netflix show.
Oh, Ozark.
Okay. All right, that's the end of the rapid fire round. I think you just had 2 passes or something. So that was quite good. Now we can go on to the long form questions, and these you can answer with as much ease and time as you like. The
Great.
first one is, can you share some insights on how you have helped your clients with email marketing campaigns in the past?
Oh gosh, yeah. So I've got quite a background in email marketing. In fact, one of my partners bills me as New Zealand's biggest spammer, which goes back to a company we worked at, which had one of the largest email marketing databases in the country, and we emailed them twice a day, and that came to 1.2 million emails a day, so over 8
Hmm.
million emails a week were sent out. Um, when we started Hype and Dexter, we had a client who was a tourism operator, and they collected emails as part of the sign up process when people embarked on the experience. They didn't do anything with it except for send one follow up email with some photos from the experience,
Hmm.
and they had accumulated over 100,000 emails from all around the world, all kinds of people over a number of years, and they wanted to do something with it. First of all, I was gobsmacked that they'd waited 5 years to do something with it. But we managed to take that list of 100,000 contacts and segment it in a meaningful way. So who had been signed up most recently, who had been signed up most frequently, done the experience multiple times, who was likely and therefore was likely to be local. And responsive to an offer to do the experience again or an enhanced version of the experience. So that was the offer we went out with. And we managed to retain something like 92,000 of just over 100,000 emails in terms of there was a meaningful response, it was deliverable. And over the course of a program of emails, we got at least one open. Side effect of that was we made over $500,000 in revenue just in trying to warm up that database. So that was quite a big win because the brief was save as much of this database as you can. We saved huge amount, over 90%, and we made them some money in the process.
I mean, to what extent would you be happy or willing to let us use the phrase New Zealand's biggest spammer for marketing this episode? Because I think that would be a great way of getting an audience,
I don't
actually.
mind. It's definitely tongue in cheek, and I think people
Yeah.
quickly realize that.
That's great. So, marketer of the month for this month with New Zealand's biggest spammer. Is it biggest or greatest? What is the phrase that
Biggest is the billing. Yeah.
biggest is the one? Okay. All right. So in your experience, what are some common mistake that businesses make with their content marketing or email marketing strategy?
Oh, I love this question, and I see that the same two mistakes all the time, even after all these years of content marketing becoming quite a sort of mainstream marketing methodology. So, number one would be, as a business, writing about what's important to us. We care about this thing we're going to write about. We're really knowledgeable in this area. We can go really in depth. We can write about it really well. But it all counts for nothing if your customer doesn't care about it, or they're earlier in the journey than they would even be aware that they should be, digesting this kind of content. We've all gone to websites, and there's huge about us sections, and the blog is very much about us and our people and our team and our culture and our delivery and things like this. These are not answering the burning questions that are on your customer's mind, unless they're right at the end of the buying journey, like looking to decide whether to do business with you, which of course 99% of your target audience are not. They're somewhere earlier in that journey towards becoming your customer. So the second thing I would say is writing assuming that everyone is at that stage of the buyer's journey. And all your calls to action, you bring people to your site with your content, or you push ads out and you get them to your content. The call to action is almost always buy now, book a demo, start a free trial, talk to sales, these kinds of things. When, as I say, the journey that your customers on dictates that they're going through phases that we like to call awareness, consideration, decision. There's a call to action that is far more relevant based on where they probably are in that journey. If it's awareness, it might just be to digest more content, to digest content that helps move them to consideration stage, where it's okay, now I'm aware of the problem I'm trying to solve and what the options might be to solve it. Show me some options. Is it provider A, provider B, solution A, solution B? And if we can own that narrative and guide the customer through the journey, then we can own them at that point where they're ready to engage with talk to sales as a call to action. But yeah, we can't neglect what is most important in our customer's mind in our content. That should be absolutely paramount. If we can answer their questions, solve their problems, even if they're things that our product doesn't solve, but we have knowledge in, and we know our customers are trying to solve this problem along the way, that's what we should be aiming to do.
So, to what extent is this marketing function going to be usurped by programs like ChatGPT or AI, where the questions can just be asked and the knowledge gotten immediately?
Oh, that's a tough one. I guess there's a way to go before an AI can seek to imitate or infiltrate the IP that we who deem ourselves experts might have. So
Hmm.
I guess it comes back to one of those core tenets of inbound. You should imbue your content with probably more intellectual property than you would normally be willing to give away for free. You should be a
Hmm.
little bit uncomfortable with the amount you give away. I mean, that's always been true, but even more so now. That is our unique human advantage, that we have intellectual property that eventually AIs, if we put enough of our IP out there on the internet and it's available for scraping and for AIs to learn from, they might get there. But right now, we still have that advantage.
And so, what about businesses that are just starting out? How do you approach inbound marketing for such businesses?
Yeah, well, inbound really starts and is built on a foundation of understanding your customer, understanding their unique goals and challenges, and understanding the journey that they might go on towards purchasing your product or service. In practical terms, that means developing a buyer persona, buyer profile, and mapping their customer journey. This can be really hard if the business is truly just starting out and they don't have customers. You might have to retrofit. Who do we think our customers are? But in order to do that, really, you should go all the way back to market and product research, define your USP and your product market fit. We understand not all businesses have that luxury of spending time and money in the research phase. So we try and understand the product and who it's best going to fit in terms of a customer, and then we find people like that in terms of in B2B their role or their organization that they represent, or in B2C what makes them tick, and what is it that they're motivated by, and then we can craft a persona from there. Of course, ideally we'll engage a business when they've got some idea of who the customer is, and we can look at data, interview those customers, especially if they've got high value customers who purchase all the time or purchase more often, more expensive transactions. They're the people we want to talk to. Why? Why did you decide on engaging this business? Why do you keep purchasing from? What's good about it? Who else did you consider along the way, and what steered you towards this decision? What brings you back? Um, I'd say as well, start creating content, organic content, right away. We all know organic content is a marathon, not a sprint. The sooner you can start, the better. You should have
Mm.
started yesterday, but we'll start today, and we'll just start pumping out content, and we'll measure and we'll test and we'll see what works. We can be backed by research, that consumer lens, but we can also look at keyword research and other trending topics and things like this as well to understand what the broader market is probably interested in. Start writing content that answers those questions, or is likely to be found in the most popular searches. And remembering that organic content isn't static, like it can be updated, it can be enhanced, it can be optimized. We can add content offers and lead generation devices to it as well. And I'd say the next thing to do would be create a really high value content offer. So in inbound, we talk a lot about offers. That's not your typical retail or e-commerce offer, 10% off free shipping. It can be that if that's the business. But more often than not, it's a free template or free guide, free ebook, a quiz or calculator, something to interact with that gives us an excuse to say, hey, would you mind giving us your email? So create a really high value content offer to generate leads. And again, that core tenet, giving away a little more intellectual property than you probably feel totally comfortable with, is a great way to go. When we started Hype and Dexter, we basically gave away our entire marketing methodology in a course of 10 emails. And it was good because we're right at the start, so it helped us define and get it down on the page. This is how we're going to tackle inbound marketing for our clients. We put it all down in a series of emails. Each one was quite in depth, but linked off to blogs and templates. And we gave away all the same templates that we use when we're working with a client to develop their inbound strategy. The key thing is, you'd be crazy to try and take this on yourself. It's almost like, you should be blinded by the science of it. Like, kudos to you if you can pick that up, and all the information's there, all the resources there, but kudos to you if you can pick that up and run with it, because it's a lot of work. We hope that you'll realize in reading this how much work it actually is, and maybe it's easier to engage us. And there'll be a version of that in your business if you're just starting out, or if you're a highly established business. Doesn't matter. There'll be some intellectual property or something that you can give away that is meaningful and tangible, but ultimately brings the customer back to your door.
Mm. So, speaking of unique challenges, can you tell me about a time when a client came to you with a specific marketing challenge? How did you approach that problem, and what was the outcome?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I can't think of a specific client or situation. I might just talk about my sort of approach to this scenario where it's a specific challenge to solve. So I think when you're presented with a specific challenge, the first thing to ask is why, and you might have to ask why 5 times to get to the root of the problem. Quite often, we haven't fully understood, we know the outcome we're trying to achieve, but we haven't understood the root of the problem or the underlying cause of the root of the problem. So we have to, as consultants, we have to dig pretty deep. And you can ask yourself this if you don't have the benefit of a consultant or an agency to engage. Regroup internally. What is it we're solving this for? What is the outcome? We first of all, we all agreed on the outcome that we want to reach, and then let's start peeling the onion. Let's start understanding the layers and the root causes of this problem. I'd say it goes back to that inbound process as well. Do we have research? Do we have any data? Ideally, you'd have some actual in-market battlefield tested data to back up any decisions that you're going to make, or to validate any assumptions that you might have made. Failing that, you'd have some auxiliary research. First party research is great, but third party research, if it's not available to you, and then really get under the skin of what it is that you're trying to solve and why, and then start testing. You'll in the process, you'll identify 2, 3, 4, 5 potentially bottlenecks in the customer journey, or whatever it is you're solving for, the campaign journey, the sales process, the customer service experience, and start tweaking it, start monitoring it, making little adjustments, and see what has the biggest impact, and then redouble your efforts on that area that has the biggest impact.
Hmm. So could you give us an example of one inbound marketing campaign that you, or like a story about an inbound marketing campaign that was interesting for you?
Yeah, I think the best inbound marketing campaigns are what I call evergreen. And I've engaged a lot of clients who they're pretty sold on the inbound approach, but what they're trying to achieve is quite sort of tactical or seasonal, and it's often not the right kind of campaign for inbound to be really effective. I think if you're thinking inbound, you should be thinking long term and you should be thinking evergreen. What's an evergreen topic? Something that is always relevant, not just something that's relevant right now, or at least something that's going to be relevant for now and for a few years into the future. Are we prepared to kind of set our stall out on a specific topic and really own it long term? And that's where I've seen the inbound methodology and even down to individual campaigns work best. So we work with Suzuki, which is of course great logo to have on our roster. Um, and we've developed a piece of content for them which has been in market for about 2 years. It's had a couple of visual refreshes, a lot of copy refreshes to keep it relevant. Um, and it keeps going. It keeps going. We've supplemented the creative that it points to the campaign. We've supplemented with other video content, other lead generation devices like quizzes and testimonial videos and case studies and things like this. And it just keeps going. So if you can try and identify when thinking about inbound marketing, because it's a big investment in terms of the amount of content and creative input it requires. Think about what's evergreen, what's a really hot topic now and is likely to be in the medium to long term. If it's a tactical, seasonal approach, I still hand on heart believe the more traditional methods of marketing or digital marketing probably more appropriate for those short, sharp, tactical campaigns. Not to say inbound not, might not have a place if it is part of an overarching long-term strategy.
And so how do you go about measuring the success of all these strategies, whether they're email, content, or inbound?
Yeah, so I like to look at it from the bottom of the funnel up. Um, so once upon a time, as marketers, we came armed with impressions, clicks, open rates, all these metrics, which are still really relevant, but they're very top of funnel. Then, of course, clicks, conversions, bounce rates, things like this are the next layer down that we look at. But when I say bottom up, now where we're working with HubSpot primarily, but other platforms as well, or tech stacks that allow you to see the flow from marketing to sales to becoming a customer to after sales care to customer service to re-engaging with marketing again, that whole customer life cycle in one platform potentially, or in one stack where we can actually see the same customer move through all those stages of the life cycle. We are really responsible for sales qualified leads. The average value of a lead, are leads from certain channels more valuable than others? Do they have a higher lifetime customer value? Are they more likely to convert? How much revenue are the leads marketing are generating and influencing, I should say, because we're not directly responsible for the leads, but we do have influence as well. How much revenue are we generating for the business, and what does that look like when we calculate a return on marketing investment?
And what softwares do you use to kind of measure this? Or
Yeah, so there's a few, obviously, and we are Apex #1 HubSpot partner, so we absolutely, back HubSpot all the way. It's one of the most unified and usable platforms. It's CRM, it's marketing automation, it's customer service, it's your content management system, and it can be a few other things as well. But there's no reason why it can't be Salesforce CRM with Salesforce Marketing Cloud or some combination of we see Klaviyo is really popular in the e-commerce space and has functions that serve e-commerce and retail particularly well. Marketo, of course, on the marketing automation side was the big sort of enterprise default choice for a long time and probably still is in some parts of the world. What we're really looking for, without just dropping names, is a unified platform. Like I say, HubSpot is one instance, but there'd be a few, um, or a platform that plays nicely with others. You need a CRM, you need marketing automation, and ideally, if you want to complete that RevOps kind of picture and measure every engagement you have with the customer, something that supports your customer service function as well.
So could you talk a bit more about the role of HubSpot in your agency's marketing strategy and how it has helped you to better serve your clients?
Yeah, so as well as implementing and solutioning HubSpot for our clients and in their businesses, we use HubSpot ourselves. It comes down to the fact it's a CRM that people actually want to use. To my business partners, have a bit of a checkered history with CRM and probably been resistant to using CRMs in the past, and they'd admit that, but they actually love using HubSpot, and you know they're not finding it a burden to get good data in there as they engage a prospect. And similarly, we as marketers, or you know people who serve our clients, when we're not finding it difficult to maintain HubSpot. It's a CRM that yeah everyone actually uses: marketers, salespeople, customer service. So that's key because you know you only get good outcomes if you get good data into the system. Um, but yeah, in terms of what enables us to do, we can switch out calls to action. And I mentioned having the most relevant call to action that aligns with your piece of content and where that content probably sits in the buyer journey. We can do that to the nth degree. So we have CTAs on our website or sections of our website where you might see any one of 9 or 10 CTAs, depending where you are in the customer lifecycle. So we can always show you the most relevant, most engaging next step to move you through our marketing and sales funnel, or if you are a customer, to move you through the most relevant content that's gonna support you ongoing, or to give us feedback on your experience working with us. As a result of marketing automation and good CRM data, we can build a profile on our leads. We can nurture them effectively because we can segment and personalize. When I say progressively profile, I'm talking about literally pointing people back to the same form, but because the form is powered by our CRM, it knows what it already knows. It knows not to ask you your country or your job title again because it's already asked that. It's already captured that data point. So it will dynamically swap out the form the next time you see it and ask you the next question. So we can get really rich data. And then we can build a lead scoring model around that. If we know Alex is from Dexter, they're headquartered in New Zealand and Sydney, they've got this much revenue, this many clients, he's a hot lead, his lead score is 50, whatever it might be, let's qualify him to have sales take a look and try and engage him in conversation. And ultimately, like I mentioned, with HubSpot and other platforms or you know stacks that integrate really nicely, it means we can see almost every interaction across the customer lifecycle all in one place, and that allows us to actually attribute our marketing efforts, our sales efforts, our customer service effectiveness through every stage.
Because you talked about AI earlier, how do your teams ensure that your agency stays up to date with the latest marketing techniques and trends in
Mm.
this era?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do the obvious things like listen to podcasts and subscribe to newsletters and things like that. But we also we commit to a few things that mean we have to be on our toes. So I run the HubSpot user group in Auckland and in Sydney. And I do that in both cases with another agency. So that's good because you know we're friendly with those agencies, but they are you know in the competitive space with us. So we want to put our best foot forward when it comes to presenting ourselves at those events. And when I say that, I mean you know being well informed on the topics. I've just come back from a HubSpot user group in Sydney where we're talking about the influence of AI in marketing, what's happening now, where we see it going. So that required me to engage on a deeper level with you know that particular topic. Yeah, so we'll book ourselves in for speaking engagements and things like that where we maybe aren't confident that we're like the absolute paragon of the expert on the topic, but it means you know we've put ourselves on a timeline whereby we've got 3 6 months whatever it might be to get really informed about that topic, and by the time we step on stage or into the webinar or into the podcast, we feel pretty confident that we can own a conversation on that topic. And then just internally, we have a lot of showcases whereby, you know, as a marketing team, we'll sit down once a month we cycle around the team. Each month, someone will present back a campaign that they've engaged with online. we actually ask that they sign up for it. They click the link, go to the website, whatever it is the campaign is asking you to do, and present back what that user journey looked like, what that campaign flow looked like. And not to put too much burden on them, just present it back, and we'll have a discussion what we think is good or bad, what can we learn from it, where could we implement some of these ideas in our own work, and then across department as well. And if you're not doing that in your business, that's something I'd heartily recommend. What is the development team doing that's really cool? Some of it might be really technical and go over your head, but if you don't have them show you their work and their wares, then, well, first of all, you won't necessarily fully value what they do and how brilliant the work is, but you won't know how to market it in my case, or we won't know how to sell it in the case of the sales department, if we don't get in a room and actually review that work and understand the problems that it's solving.
So keeping all of this in mind, the last question for you is of a personal kind. What would you be doing in your life if not this right now?
That's a good one. I do often wonder. Like I'd like to think I would be making music in some capacity. That was always my dream from sort of from my school years and through university. My education was almost sort of in the background, and my focus was really on not just playing music, but sort of arranging and producing and things like that. I think I'm happiest in the studio. But look, I think that's informed me as a marketer, and I also actually studied film and visual media, so another creative aspect, alongside being interested in music at university. So I think that's really informed me as a marketer to understand visual language, communications, in terms of copywriting. I actually got told my copywriting was very lyrical, and I was like, "Oh, funny you should say that," because I aspired to be a songwriter at one point in time. So if I wasn't doing that, something that allowed me to travel.
I was going to say, now that AI is also going to enter music, it's going to be easier to create music. And so it might be a career that can still be achieved. Even in filmmaking, it's laying ruin to filmmaking as well. So it's...
if you're struggling to write that third verse or that middle part of the song, just ask ChatGPT to fill in the gap for you.
But also it can mix songs and create new music or adapt
know.
music from previous artists. So I feel we're going to have a whole new set of DJs in the world stage. Who knows?
It's an interesting time.
All right. Yeah. Well, that was the last question. Thanks, everyone, for joining us for this month's episode of Outgrow's Market of the Month. That was Alex Mackrill, who's the Chief Marketing Officer at Hype and Dexter. Thanks for joining us, Alex.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Check out their website for more details, and we'll see you once again next month with another Marketer of the Month.